YouTube above average Cody here, and 343 changed the Bandit Evo in Halo Infinite Ranked once again here, y'all, and I am seeing boatloads of comments of people struggling with the weapon. So today, I'm going to give you guys some tips specifically curated to the changes that were made to the Bandit to hopefully help you guys step your game up and take your aim to the next level here in Ranked. Now, we're going to focus on two main things: timing your shots and strafing. Those are the two biggest things that I've found either make or break these changes. Either A, you don't really notice it, or B, you're really struggling with it. Now, what the heck is this dude talking about with timing your shots? I'm talking about you should only be pulling your trigger when the reticle is over the enemy. And I'm going to do my best to show you guys what I'm talking about here. So ideally, your reticle is always over the enemy. By all means, pull the trigger as much as possible. Now, the example I want to use here is imagine that this line right here on the pillar, only this line, is our target, right? That is our enemy right there. We have to hit a bullet on this little tiny line to do any damage, all right? So, when I'm strafing, say I'm in a regular gunfight, right? If I'm just pulling the trigger all willy-nilly, you know, I'm strafing, I'll use a little right stick, you know, I'll actually try to hit the little line we dictated here. But it's like, there's no aim assist on a pillar, obviously, guys. But not many of these shots are hitting this line, right? Because I am doing zero timing of my shots. Now, if I strafe through and only pull the trigger when I'm over the pillar, it's a little bit easier. And obviously, I'm doing it very slow because, again, no aim assist, guys. This is just a kind of crude example here that I'm using. If you just time it each time that your reticle comes over that line that we dictated, I can get the bullets pretty damn close. But if I'm just shooting all willy-nilly, you know, I'll even throw in a little right stick, it's just inevitable I'm going to miss more shots. Okay, cringe example, sure, but that's pretty much what I'm talking about when I say you need to time your shots. And it seems like the people that weren't timing their shots before notice this change with the Bandit the most. Obviously, the change being, guys, the fire rate is much slower than it was. This leads to higher times to kill. Basically, the time in between the bullets is just longer. Although a subtle difference, these people notice it more because they weren't really timing their shots before. So now with the slower fire rate, they're punished just ever so much more each time they miss those bullets, because obviously if you're missing 3 bullets, guys, slower fire rate, it takes you a hair longer to miss those 3 bullets. So I was always a big, like, I'm not the fastest player, I'm not the fastest shooter, I'm never gonna run up a ton of kills, guys. You guys know me, I'm not a professional by any means. I'm just here to help out some of you. But I was a very slow shooter, and I was very careful to only shoot once I had it lined up, especially with the headshots. Because of this, when I hopped on for this new update, guys, I really didn't notice it that much, and I was actually surprised to see how many people were talking about how much it was affecting their gameplay. And then it kind of hit me, a lot of people do this. They just pull the trigger, and if they hit the enemy, cool. If they don't hit the enemy, whatever. And then they just hope that their tracking kind of just goes well for them. So I'm not going to say that this change leads to a massive new skill that you have to learn. I just think it might expose some things that you may have been deficient in that you weren't already doing. And the first massive one is, of course, timing your shots. So if you have a lot of trouble over-aiming or under-aiming, you're going to get punished a little bit more for doing all of these multiple trigger pulls, because again, it is a little bit slower. So I'm not really saying you have to make a massive change to your gameplay with this tip, but I am saying just get the thought in your head to not only keep the reticle over the enemy all the time, because again, if you never pull that reticle off the enemy, you're never going to have a problem. You're not going to notice. You can pull the trigger as much as you want, but if you do have this little bit of trouble with maybe over-aiming or missing between the legs or just barely missing over the shoulder, try to focus on pulling the trigger when your reticle's over the enemy. And you can do it nice and slow like the original example here and just tap the enemy each time. The stalker rifle is a great practice for this drill, y'all. And the more you do that, the more you're just going to automatically pull the trigger once it's over the enemy. Because again, if you're over aiming, you put a bullet here, you correct, you put a bullet here, you bring it back up, say you miss over the shoulder, that's already 3 bullets, guys. It takes a hair longer. It just gives your enemy more time to get in more shots. And although I feel like explaining this, it doesn't really sound like it really is going to affect your gameplay or your gunfights that much, but it really will, guys, especially if you are a lower level aim player that's not really putting up those accuracy numbers above like 40-45%. The slower you start doing this, and again, you focus on keeping that reticle over the enemy and then just tapping it when it's over them, you'll start to get a little bit more methodical with how you shoot your gun, and I promise you, you're going to realize, wow, I was dumping a lot of bullets into the walls and things like that. Now, the next tip I want to get to, guys, is strafing, and this kind of plays a big role in timing your shots, but I see a lot of people complaining about getting, like, 5-shot a lot more. And I think a big reason for that is maybe you guys just are forgetting how important a normal strafe is. I see people talking about people standing still, this and that. You guys should still be strafing. Give it a good, like, I like to call it like a door's width distance, and I think I've actually used this door over here as an example before. You want to strafe wide enough where the person has to move their reticle, right? If you're doing these little strafes, you know, maybe you're even crouching like this. If you're doing half a doorway here, I don't have to move my reticle to hit you. If you are in this one little area, I do not have to move my reticle at all. If you play against a higher level player, you are the freest kill ever. You want to get the full doorway length of strafe. Make it a little bit wider here, you know, then throw in the crouches. You are going to be a much harder target to hit because the enemy actually has to right stick aim to hit you, because again, if you're in this one little window, I can stand here and just shoot and the aim assist is going to literally aim for me. You are going to get destroyed. But if you're doing this wide strafe, y'all, that enemy is actually going to have to aim a little bit. They're going to have to do their job. Aim assist will still help, but they're going to have to do a little bit more, and then they're going to have to do a little bit of left stick aiming to kind of keep the reticle over you. And if you can get them to miss 1 bullet, 2 bullets, or maybe even all of the bullets, you're going to win a lot more gunfights, guys. And that brings me to be tricky with this strafe. Once you get down that consistent kind of wider strafe, you know, you're getting better at timing your shots, then you want to put your own little personal zest to it. And we all have our own little thing that we like to do in our gunfights. Maybe you crouch down when you're one shot. Maybe you jump when you're one shot. One thing that I try to practice a lot is I do the normal strafe, and then I'll strafe off in one direction, kind of towards the end of the gunfight. I'll even crouch strafe in one direction. It looks cringe. It sounds cringe, sure, but a lot of times in the diamond lobbies, y'all, it works great because people expect you to just do the consistent right, left, right, left. Find something you can throw in there to just throw off the enemy, guys. And that alone is going to help you win so many more gunfights. And I'm hoping that some of you that are struggling are watching this video and going, oh my god, I used to do that, but I kind of got away from it in my gameplay. Because that happens to all of us. If you're not constantly reminding yourself of these things, practicing these things, this is when you stop doing them, you kind of revert back to how you were prior to learning this skill, and then you're just inevitably worse at the game. You're taking steps backwards. So with the strafe, guys, and again, it kind of locks into timing your shots, do the strafe as wide as you want. Just don't do this. Don't do the little, you know, oh, I'm strafing back and forth, I'm hard to hit, you know, I'll go up and down, because again, the aim assist is going to do the aiming for the enemy here. Strafe wider and wait until the reticle is over the enemy. The better you can time and pace those shots, the better you're going to be in the long run, guys, because again, I would rather you take an extra fraction of a second to line up that reticle either for the first bullet or the headshot, because it's going to go a lot further than just missing. Okay, I found my aim. You're already dead by the time you do that, guys. So time your shots. Focus on widening that strafe, because again, the slower rate of fire, guys, gives you that extra little bit of second, you know, strafe in and out of cover with that distance. Because again, if you're doing that short strafe, you're probably not jiggle peeking. You know, this is not a jiggle peek, really. This is doing nothing, you know. Come out, time your shots, do this, in and out of cover, all that. Bring it all together, guys. You're going to have more success with the Bandit. And none of these tips, guys, are anything groundbreaking, nothing top secret and insane. It's very basic stuff that a lot of people should have already been doing. But again, with these little tweaks to the Bandit, I feel like this kind of unlocked some things for some people that they were not already doing, or perhaps that they kind of got away from, and it's just kind of being exposed now that the fire rate is ever so tiny bit increased, I should say. So again, even though it seems like a very small change for face value, I definitely think it kind of clicked some things for players that really just haven't taken any big steps of progression in their aim. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the main things that I've seen that can help you out with these Bandit changes. Sure, there's a lot more. There's a lot more general aim tips. I just feel like those are the main things that I am doing around these changes with the Bandit, and the main thing I'm seeing some lower level players lack that could really help them out with the Bandit Evo in Halo Infinite rank. But alrighty, guys, that's long enough. Hope these tips helped you out. Again, if you want some general aim tips or perhaps some general controller settings, I do have my most popular videos linked down below in the description. I didn't want to go over everything in this video because I really want to focus on what's going to help you with these Bandit changes specifically. But yeah, guys, outside of that, subscribe to the channel. A lot of Halo content. We mix in other stuff here and there, guys, but we've been back on the Halo grind. One more grind to Onyx before Black Ops 6 comes out. So hit that sub button, guys. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. What are your best tips for the new Bandit Evo? Are you liking it? Are you hating it? And then finally, guys, channel memberships and super thanks. If you'd like to support monetarily, it helps me out a lot as a content creator, but please do not feel like you have to. But alrighty, guys, get out there, utilize these tips, go work on improving your aim, and hopefully this helped you out, guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.